I just wanted to say that I had seen a bunch of films, screened a bunch of films, documentary and narrative films for this program this year. And I chose this because, I mean, I thought it was a really interesting film, a tough film. But I like the consistency of tone. I like films where you go in a certain direction and you don't flinch and you stay in that zone over here. But this film, for me, struck a tone, a rather dark tone, a very serious tone. I didn't flinch from that and stayed with it throughout. It really kind of put a spell on me. And then number two, of course, I had worked with Ron in the movie The Cooler and had seen Ron in Sex and the City and other film work he'd done. But I really thought that he, and I'm thrilled by this when I see people do this because he's young, I see him make this incredible leap in this film. To me, great film acting is as much about what you don't do as what you do. And I want you to talk about that, about how you kind of, how your performance fits so well into the tone of the film and the kind of the darkness of the film. But first of all, I think we should have an applause for this.
In early 2002, I kind of took a long sabbatical from the world of being an attorney and investment banker in New York to, as you can imagine, the complete devastation of my Jewish mother, who is wearing black ever since, and decided to be a filmmaker. But I was walking in the street in Cambodia where I found myself surrounded by a group of about 15 little girls, and the scene that you saw of Ron with the little girls is actually very similar, and some of the quotes happened in the middle of a street in Phnom Penh about 2, 3 in the afternoon with this girl grabbing not my sleeve but my private thoughts. And I gave the girl money just like Ron did in the film, and I walked away and I said, you know what, I have to do something about this issue. There's a Holocaust happening, and people are not aware of this, or don't want to believe that this is happening. So I thought that utilizing mass media to tell a story like that from a point of view of the victim, from the real point of view.
Tell me, Ron, if you would, the path for you, how you came to find this script and this project, and and take your time and tell us about what it was like to go over there and how long you were there, the conditions, and what it was like for you to play this role.
It started off with a meeting for coffee. I met Guy Moshe. It was kind of a courtesy meeting because this was like probably late November, early December, and they were talking about going to do this movie starting January 2nd in Cambodia, and I read it, and it's set in the child brothels, and there's a scene where I crawl into bed with the girl, and there was a bunch of red flags all over it. I thought, I don't know about this. I mean, it's 2 weeks from now, I'm going home for Christmas. So, but I went to this coffee meeting and met Guy Moshe, and 45 minutes later, I was saying, and when are you starting? And I just walked out of there with the sense of, okay, this is in good hands, and I think we can tell this story. As many cops are as on the take in the child prostitution business, it seems like there are that many employed in shaking down movie companies that go to make movies there. So we probably spent 6 or 7 days, I think, sitting on our hands while they kidnapped grip trucks, and I think you were doing shady negotiations and hotels, carrying, it was like it was. Yeah, it was out of a Tom Clancy novel or something, and so it gave you kind of a sense of the place. And in the meantime, I just had about a week to kind of roam around the city and get a feel for it, and to meet Americans that were there.
Where did you cast? Because I'm assuming you didn't bring very many people over there with you. And what was that process like for you casting actors over there?
Pretty much everybody you've seen in the film is pretty much a non-actor. We had a casting director working from Thailand, because Thailand does have an emerging, interesting film industry. We cast, I'd say half and half from all the foreign roles. We had half of the people were non-actors, and
The leading lady is from where?
the leading lady is currently based in LA, but she was born and raised in Vietnam until the age of 20 years old. And when she came to audition for us, it was just 2 years after she arrived at the States. She hardly spoke any English, and she was a non-actress.
Well, basically less than 2 weeks before we had to go to Cambodia and shoot the film, we don't have anybody to play the lead role. We didn't have a second choice, a third choice, anything. I was actually starting to work on my Vietnamese look because Guy told me I'm playing the lead part. It's like we had absolutely no option to anybody. So.
She walked in at 5 to 4, basically. We were going to shut down at 4 o'clock. 10:30, one girl showed up, half Chinese, half Vietnamese. Couldn't even look at me. And we were waiting there, I think, 8 hours, nobody showed up at all. And then 5 to 4, she walks in the room, and I take one look at her. I say, okay, this is the girl, I guess. But, yeah.
Especially
And introduce your friend on the other.
And actually an opportunity to introduce an incredible person that when after we finished, I finished the first few stages of the script and said, okay, we're ready to make the film. I started to meet with investors, and I met with Amit Kort and his wife, Dr. Smadar Kort. And as soon as they read the script, they said, this is a story that must be told. We have kids of our own. At any cost, whatever it takes, this is going to be made. And if we did not have him in the way this film was done, with the amount of bribe corruptions and what was going on behind the scene, that I'm pretty sure that there was virtually no film that ever went for it. 40 bodyguards with AK-47 and things like that. And this film was never made. So the person that really stood and made sure this is happening is Amit Kort.